It was almost 15 months ago to the day when Governor Phil Scott declared a state of emergency as a virus we didn't know all that much about was starting to spread through Vermont. You don't need to take our word for it that things are back to normal. I'm just going to go off script here for a second and show you what's going on behind me. We got a pretty intense volleyball game, and I'm told the U32 junior prom was up taking a bunch of pictures on the State House steps. Just a couple of signs that people are really starting to feel like things are getting back to normal here in Montpelier and around Vermont. After almost a year of unpredictability and uncertainty, Killington and other resorts are excited to reopen again, but say they're doing so in a way that will keep people safe in the lodge and on the trails. This all started just around 6:45 last night when Ben Webb was driving erratically down Route 15 in Colchester. Apparently he got out of his vehicle, walked up to another man's car, demanded his debit card, in a threat that was made with an unusual weapon.
Mr. Webb pulled up alongside of him in the roadway and pointed a crossbow at him.
Today the line was wrapped around the corner early this morning of the St. Albans post office. There were people from Long Island, people from New York City, people from Connecticut, even people from Dallas, all of them here to try to avoid a lengthy delay in getting their passport. But after all that waiting, all they got was some unfortunate news.
They're telling us that they're not doing the walk-ins anymore. They passed out this piece of paper. They're just leaving us out here in the hot.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, Colonel Dan Finnegan could be found in the Vermont Air National Guard's mission planning room getting ready for a routine training flight. When he took off in an F-16 fighter jet later that night, it was anything but.
I remember kind of a helpless feeling, which is a little bit weird because when you're flying around in a loaded F-16, you like to think that you have some ability to affect things.
That same morning, Brigadier General Henry Harder was 2,000 miles away for a conference at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. Hours later, he was driving back to his home base in a rental car that'd soon be traded in for an F-16. It was a trip he'll never forget.
We were on the interstate in the middle of Nebraska, and you had heavy equipment operators had raised all of their cranes to the maximum level. They all had American flags hanging down, and you had this deep feeling of sadness, but also a feeling that America was pulling together in a time of national crisis.
At one time, he was a kid growing up 30 miles outside of Manhattan. Now he approached Ground Zero, proud to serve, but it was hard to shake that sense of sadness.
I could see smoke rising from Manhattan from about 60 miles away, and you don't lose that imprint in your mind, is that you feel like your backyard has been attacked.
Despite the chaos on the ground, their work didn't go unnoticed by first responders. Sergeant Chad Crowningshield will always remember what one New York City detective said to them years later.
He, along with many others, they heard the jets up in the sky, and being able to look up and know that those F-16s were covering them, and we had their back.
Vermont will take in at least $2.2 billion of the $1.2 trillion that'll be doled out across the country. And that's money for roads, bridges, energy systems, broadband expansion, and border crossing upgrades. We've told you all about the to-do list, and now we know the money is there, but putting plans into action will be its own challenge. More than half of Vermont's infrastructure infusion will go toward transportation. $1.4 billion for roads, $225 million for bridges, and $86 million to expand public transit. Senator Bernie Sanders, chair of the Budget Committee, wants to make sure Vermont's workforce is capable of seeing it all through.
The challenge that we have, given the labor shortage in Vermont, is to make sure that we can get the workers that we need to fix our water systems and our wastewater plants and build the new roads.
One of the provisions Sanders insisted upon in the bipartisan infrastructure bill ensures those new jobs will pay well. Senator Patrick Leahy, meanwhile, said it shouldn't have taken 85 days to get the bill through the House. The holdup was largely due to progressive Democrats' push for a $2 trillion social spending package to be included.
I was concerned when it was held up earlier because people wanted even more things. I'm a pragmatist. I can talk about all kinds of ideological things that I'd like to have and I would like to have. But I also believe in getting things done.
And that social spending plan, known as the Build Back Better Act, is next on lawmakers' list.
They're still negotiating what's going to be in that reconciliation bill. I wish they had not held it up because I think a lot of these contracts could have been issued. We could have been putting people to work long before now.
If it was a challenge getting everyone on the same page for infrastructure, social spending presents an even greater need for bipartisanship. Senator Sanders said the potential to make a real impact on soaring healthcare costs and climate change doesn't come without its challenges.
I know it's easy to criticize the president or me or anybody else for trying to address the long neglected problems of working families. That is what we're trying to do, and we're trying to do it in a Senate which has 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans, and we're not getting the support of one Republican. So that ain't easy to do. And that's what this whole process, the struggle and the confusion has been about.
And Sanders said now that the infrastructure bill is passed, it needs to be implemented in a cost-effective and efficient way. Now, coming up in a few minutes, our Washington correspondent will outline how supply chain issues will be impacting the holiday season. Live in the newsroom tonight, Devin Bates, Local 22 News. I spoke with several people who came from both near and far to make their first turns of the season.
This is going to be my first run when I get out there.
Oh, I'm holding you up then, huh? With snow guns blowing, lifts spinning, and temperatures dropping, you'd have been hard-pressed to find anyone without a smile on their face at Killington on Friday. Just a few days ago, opening day didn't seem so close.
We had this great stretch of cold temps. The team charged the system on Monday, was able to keep it running 24 hours a day, which allowed us to have opening day today.
The K1 gondola is one of the best seats in the house as we start the 2021-22 ski season. I spoke with several skiers and riders about opening day.
We were planning on coming up Wednesday night, got the email, and I was like, oh, bonus.
All my friends are down at the beach right now because we got school off this week, but I'm skiing. I love it, man.
Michael and Justin Seelan traded the sunny shores of New Jersey for a weekend on the sunny slopes of Vermont, and it turns out they weren't the only ones. Andrea and Nicholas Salduti of Woodland Park, New Jersey, had quite the day.
We woke up at 4:45 this morning to pack up and head up here for a 4-hour drive.
No sleep.
Even with just one trail open and a hike to get to it, skiers and riders weren't complaining.
One small trail opened today and over 1,000 people came.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a great atmosphere. Everyone's so excited to be here.
A habit that's hard to break, even when it breaks you.
I'm just an addict. I've been doing it since I was little. I've had 2 ACL reconstructions, a shoulder reconstruction, all from skiing. I can't get enough.
New Jersey certainly represented strong here today, huh? Well, if that makes you a little bit jealous, you're not a season pass holder and you want to get out here, don't worry. Things start at 9 a.m. tomorrow for all the rest of us. Meanwhile, the Women's World Cup will be here from Thanksgiving weekend. You're actually looking at the trail that will take place on right here, so a lot of work going into getting that ready as well. Live in Killington, Devin Bates, Local 22 News.